everybody, welcome to the channel for new battle report. So this is game number 1 of the French Interregio. We were facing Team Belgium and I was paired against Merlin, aka Talandria, with his Sylvan Elves. This was my list. I presented it in the previous video, so if you didn't have a look at it yet and you want to understand better the choices in the list, it's all explained in the previous video. And this is my opponent's list, so he's playing basically quite, we could say, MSU, a little bit avoidance, a Sylvan Elf. Not only avoidance, because it can also engage from far away. So I think, yeah, what sums up this list is a very good charge range with a lot of threats around the board, and it can easily, I think, yeah, redeploy and play around the board. So not engage in the middle, but can play on the strengths, which could be the mobility and the high charge range of this list. So we have a Master on a Dragon Cosmology, who is obviously MR2, and he has double breast weapon. Then we have a BSB, which is basically very mobile on the Eagle King, and with the bow of Wiscan to shoot bolt throwers. Then we have 2 times scoring his rider in core, 1 time with the distracting, and the other one MR1. We have 5 his rider. I think they're also scoring in his hunters, I think so. Then we have 2 times 6 Castle Knight, which are skirmishers. They have the Vanguard, very high mobility and good charge range. 10 Bar Maiden with a mage, so he has double access to Wheel and War, which is quite strong, as you will see. 5 Pathfinders, 5 Sentinel. So basically the weakness of this list is obviously around the scoring unit. I'm not sure this one, but I think they also have scoring, because if they don't, he wouldn't have paired the standard bearer. But basically, yeah, only 3 scoring units, no big scoring unit here, which could be a problem. And you will see we play all the ground, so definitely here an issue for him. So we play all the center, we have a frontline clash. So basically it's going to be very hard for him to contest, because I have a scoring unit that costs the most, more than 550. And basically the middle will be here, and I can easily score it from turn 3, and it's going to be very hard for him to win it, because he would need just to remove this unit from the board, which is not so easy for him to do. Regarding secondary objective, I remember I had to pick a piece of terrain, which was this wall. I'm going to be bottom, so he had to put a scoring unit on the wall at the end of the game. That was basically his secondary, and my secondary is Enslave and Ransom, which is basically kill or catch a unit in close combat. Below you have the spell selection for both of us. Quickly about the matchup analysis, yeah, I'm on auto win for the primary, and I felt then it's down to him if he wants to engage and take risk, or if he just accept mid-size loss. But I felt not much can happen to me. I have many units that can stick to his 1 versus 1 charges, so I just need to be careful about his long charge range, the potential combo charges that could happen, have good counter charge setup, and then my magic and my shooting should be able to grab some points. So I felt really good about this matchup. Deployment wise, so like I said, I won the roll for side. I picked bottom. I gave him he has to come on the wall, which is not going to be easy. Then I place obviously my blunderbuss, the most scoring, near the middle. So basically the plan for them was to occupy the ring quite quickly and have a zone where it's going to be really hard for him to do wounds on this unit. So they should be able to score the center by themselves and be really hard to remove once they are protected in the ring. Then next to them, I have the Bastion that's going to try to push and corner this zone. The tank is also nearby to completely close this flank, and some Incarnate here in the middle that can play with the wall and then act as a counter charger left or right. So that's about my right flank. As you can see, he went with a similar strategy. I remember he dropped at some point. We exchanged a lot of drops, and at some point he had a +1 and he drops and wanted to make me start. That's what ended up happening, but we really went back and forth, and this deployment was very tactical, took a lot of time, because he has some special movement. You have 2 times the Kestrel that have very high mobility between the Vanguard and their movement, and I had to anticipate all the potential movement. Also the Pathfinder here that started as scout can easily Vanguard towards me, so I had to really protect carefully my flank, because I didn't want him to be able to go out of line of sight at the beginning of the game, which would be a huge issue. So basically I had to cover all of that. To finish my deployment, I have my Lamas in the back, I have my Cadim Chariot here in the middle, who is basically covering the angles. But since I didn't know if I would start or not, I placed myself really far away from the Bar Maiden to avoid any poison shot. Then on the hill Incarnate, and to close the left flank, I place my anointed here that are here to close the movement of the scout to avoid them being able to move out of line of sight if he could start the game, and my vassal cav is in the back. For him, as you saw, Kestrel on each side, cavalry next to them, so the flank are very symmetrical. Then he places 2 characters in the back with the dragon and the eagle behind the impassable, which was expected. The small cavalry next to them, Briar Maiden in the forest. In the back you have sentinels, and on the far left you have the pathfinders. My turn 1, he is after Vanguard, and my turn 1, so I push a bit on the left. I wanted to close that flank and get into shooting range, so I move a bit forward with the tank. I have basically Incarnate as distracting on the wall and in a position to be counter-charged for both of these units in case he attempt to charge. Then I go next to the ruin but not into it with my warrior. Basically the idea is next turn to be really fully in the ruin without marching to avoid some check. And on the left flank I just went into zoning. I think we are both happy considering the forces. We both have like 2 combat units on this flank which are zoning themselves, so I think we were quite happy with that. And Magic Face got a fireball onto them. I want to reduce them, maybe that could help me move forward on this left flank. I did 1 wound, and then I tried to dispel to get a +1 to hit, I think on the tank, but he dispelled that. With the tank I managed to do nothing on the Kestrel. I think I was really hitting really badly due to the hard target and skirmisher light troop stuff. His turn 1. So yeah, he start to... You see the pass of his battle line. I think something that he do quite usually with this list, but you have like moving around me, so out of the pressure in the center, obviously all the ground. I mean, he knows for a fact that he's going to lose that no matter what. So he's really starting the game at 7-13, and now he needs to create something. So he moves a bit to the flank, into the position, but it doesn't move that much. As you can see, I covered well all potential angles and not allow him to move out of line of sight. For the moment, the dragon stays in the back. He goes out of my shooting range of the bastion to avoid anything crazy. Magic Face, he got a swarm of insect, did 2 wounds to my tank, and then he did 4 wounds to my Infernal warrior with shooting, and 1 wound to the bastion unit also with shooting on the bastion himself. My turn 2, I push a bit forward, but not into any range here. Yeah, it went crazy. I rolled, it was the Archon that does D6 strength 5 on your unit, and I managed to roll a 6 and kill 5 dwarfs. So yeah, that's a lot. I lost a lot of guys without marching, just due to the Archon, which is not it's not something I like about the current rule pack. This Archon, which is very random, could also put one of your units in ambush potentially. So I felt, yeah, it's not the best. I don't like it that much. This effect, this random effect, it's not something I like a lot about the game. So I don't like when it's too random like that. It's very, very random. But anyway, that's what happened. The rest, yeah, push a bit to the right. I allow him to have long charge range, but only I think on 6s. So if he makes 1, I have no issue. If he makes 2, it's more of a problem. I forgot to mention, I placed at the beginning of the game with the Lamassu 1 incendiary marker on the dragon and the other one on the Kestrel on the right. He decided to give me that instead of channel. And here left flank, as you can see, we have the Anointed still zoning, Incarnate moving a bit forward, leaving him with long charges in case he wants to attempt. And I place my little vassal to shoot those guys, to place them Flaming Token, which then makes the charge against Incarnate not doable anymore, I think. Magic Face, I got the Fireball, 1 wound on the cavalry, I think also an Hereditary on those cavalry here to give them an incendiary token, which is quite important because if they take the charge against my Incarnate, they would be now under danger with the reroll to wound. And then shooting, I managed to 2 wounds to the Kestrel with my, I think with the little guy on the left. It's not the tank, it's the little guy, the little vassal cav on the left that didn't move. I was like hitting on 6+, wounding on 5+, and managed to 2 wounds to the Kestrel, which is crazy. He has only 4 Kestrel left on the left, as you can see, but I placed the very valuable Flaming Token, which is nice. He identified quickly that he needs to move here forward with the scoring to basically give me 2 threats, so I cannot move freely with Incarnate forward because I would get combo charged by these units, and that would be too much for the Incarnate most likely. Here in the middle he comes to threaten my Infernal warrior. He moves a bit forward with the dragon to leave me with shooting options. Those guys on the left stays in the back, just in position to potentially counter charge if I move too much forward. And that's about it. In the Magic Phase, He gets a reroll to wound on the poison guy, I think so. Ice and fire did nothing to my warriors. And then he kills 2 of my vassal cavalry on the left with the pathfinders, but I managed the 9 non-rollable check on the vassal cav. My turn 3, still no charges. I move with the bastion in range here to charge. Those guys are covering, and the Lamassu as well, so if he charged me with Briar Maiden and the dragon, I would feel confident. I move a bit forward on the right, but still leave him with the long charges here in case he wants to come. So that should be fine. I was able also to give a front to those guys here in case they want to come, and the Kestrel were too far, so I was fine with that. On the left, yeah, I managed to move a bit Incarnate toward this direction, leaving him with long charges, but basically covering here with potential charges, also this position just in case, and I still have the Chariot also looking in the middle, so that was okay. I also wanted Incarnate to avoid a push from those guys here and be able to shoot at my mage, so that's the idea. And I have only now that he has lost 2 models on the Kestrel on the left, basically I trust my Anointed in case I would need to charge them. If they want to move out of line of sight here, I would trust the Anointed to get rid of them, basically. Magic Phase, I get the big Pyro Flow on the Briar Maiden, I kill 4, he passed the panic check. I kill 1 caster on the right, this time with the tank. And the Bastion managed to do 1 wound to the dragon. That's the odds for the Bastion, so it's a bit low on the odds. On average, it's around 2 wounds. Could do between 2 and 3. 1 wound, yeah, that's already something. His turn 3, so he elected to push, which surprised me a bit, because now I'm going to be in range with a lot of shooting. So he pushed with the dragon here to get double breast weapon. He managed to do until now 3 wounds on my Bastion, so I have 5 left, and his plan was to basically get Will and Woe, since you can. It's also something I don't like much about the version 3.0 at the moment. Is basically this time you can just 4 dice Will and Woe, 4 dice Will and Woe, and one of them will go through if you don't have a binding scroll, which is yeah, it's not the best mechanic. I feel you don't get really a negative to cast it the second time. You just reduce the casting value, but basically if you don't have a binding, yeah, it's still going to go through basically for easy spells. So that's going to be what's going to do here, is try to make some aggression on my Bastion. The right flank stay in the zoning positions, the left flank as well, and then he push a bit the Briar Maiden to get more shots here. In the Magic Phase, he gets the reroll to wound on the dragon 1 time, then he gets Ice and Fire, kill 1 of the warriors. Breast weapon managed to do on 6 up, so he gets 4d6, reroll to wound, strength 4 on 6 up, and then I have a 4 up armor save. I think it was all AP 1, and he managed to do 3 wounds to my Bastion, which yeah, I think it's about right. I think it should be between 2 and 3 wounds on average, so that's fine. On my Bastion, yeah, still quite powerful. The double breast reroll to wound. Will and Woe affect the whole model, so basically it affects everything. Also the spell you cast, which I don't know if it was intended, but it's quite powerful. My turn 4. So I'm about to find some solutions. So basically I want to push my Bastion and my tank to shoot at the dragon. So I'm going to get 13 shots from those guys here, plus 20 from the Bastion, plus the tank, which is going to hit on 4+, multi-wound 2. He saves on 6 and 6, but I should do a good amount of wounds. So basically I want to punish the dragon for his risk approach. Here I elected to push my Incarnate just below the corner of the Impassable. Basically he can still charge me with 2 units, plus the small unit here in the flank, but that's going to be reduce the amount of guys that are in base contact, and then I have the tank who is in counter charge here, or in counter charge here, in case he does charge. I felt I should be losing by a little bit, but not that much. I'm going to be there, and then I can double counter charge, and I should get all that combat on the right. So I wasn't too stressed. What I didn't know at the time was the fact that now his rider, they have 2 attack each on the charge. I was expecting 1 attack each, and when he told me it's 20 attacks, I was like, okay, I didn't know that, so that's something new. And basically that's going to be also something quite common during this French Interregio. It's for me the first, and like a lot of people, we didn't play that much in version 3.0, like 3-4 games before the tournament. So basically there are a lot of books that you didn't face now, and you just, like, you're surprised by some of the rules that you didn't know, basically. And I didn't know that the core cavalry are now doing 20 attacks on the charge. So definitely it's going to be a bit more harder and a bit more dicey as I expected. but I didn't know, like I said. So here I'm able to move out of line of sight of the dragon with my little guys to shoot him in the flank. Those guys don't see me as well, so I find a very good sweet spot to get all the shot at the dragon. And yeah, like I said, 33 on 5 up, 5 up, and then the 4 shots on 4 up, 4 up, multi-wound 2. So that could kill the dragon, that could do a lot, that could do nothing. It's you will see then the odds. Left flank remains a stalemate. In the magic phase, I try to get the +1 to hit on the tank, which would be huge. Obviously, hitting on 3 up instead of 4 up is huge, but it dispels that with 5 dice against my 4 dice. Then I get the ward save spell on the Bastion, which I think was the wrong choice. To be honest with you, I think I had better things to do. I had, for example, I think I had Flaming Swords. Did I pick it? Not sure about that. I don't think I had Flaming Sword, but I should have cast at least the ward save spell on the Kadim Incarnate on the right, which was still in a position that's a bit risky. Despite the fact that he has Incendiary token on both units, I think the +1 ward save should have gone on the Kadim instead of the Bastion. So that's, I think, a mistake. But like I said, I didn't know that he had 20 attacks on the cavalry, so that's also part of my thought process. Shooting phase. So odds, that's the odds from the 33 shots on the left, and on the right we have the tank. I was surprised by the tank. Actually, it's not that crazy good. As you see, it's like a coin flip. You can do nothing, and you can do a lot basically, but it's very, very dicey. On average, you expect between 0 and 2 wounds. I remember I got 2 wounds through, so I got 6 up, 6 up. I save one with the armor save, saves the other one with the regen that he has close to the forest. So basically the tank did nothing. Okay, that could happen. And then I shot with all the blunder. I think I managed to do 3 wounds total, which was average for the blunder. So yeah, it was a bit of a coin flip. Tank could have done something to make the dragon very close to die, or also die, could have been possible. As you can see in the green area, 6 wounds is possible between the blunder and the tank. It's definitely something that can happen. So it's a bit of 50-50 coin flip, and here in this case I didn't kill the dragon, but I still was able to hurt him. Let's see what he does on his 4. So I elected to charge with the dragon. I had no stand and shoot, but I felt confident about that. Obviously he can kill my Bastion, but then I have the counter charge of the tank, and basically his game plan, they took the timeout, was to double charge here, and he thought that with all these charges he could get through, overrun into the tank to block the tank, and then it's a dragon into warriors strength 3, and he should kill, because the Bastion has only 2 wounds left. So basically he should kill the Bastion and then melt into my little guys, and at some point potentially kill them, which is a good idea. But then the main question is about this combat on the right. Can he go through the Incarnate? And that's you will see then the odds. So on the magic phase, he made a mistake here, and I think it's a crucial mistake, to be honest. He tried to get will and woe, so reroll to wound, I think on his cavalry, on his cavalry that has a lot of attacks. He made it on 3 dice. I dispel with 4, it was a big card, and then he makes the second time with 4 dice, and I dispel with 5. And he should have done, I think, 4-4 to make sure that he gets it. I think it's a decisive buff, to be honest. And my mistake was not to buff this combat, because I didn't expect 20 attack. But I think even with the only 1 attack each, I should have made sure that the Incarnate can hold, because it's a key position for the rest of the game. So I should have definitely get the ward save spell on them. Anyway, then he tries to get another spell on my tank, but fails. The bolter did nothing on the shooting, and then close combat. On the right, I was a bit surprised by that, but actually the Incarnate rolled crazy good, and I managed to kill all cavalry. Remember, I got reroll to wound, so I'm only hitting on 5 up, but reroll to wound is really, really great. And basically I managed to do like, yeah, I think I did like 5 wounds on the grind, which is like a 3-up roll to wound, and then it's dead guys, or maybe the opposite. I don't know if I put the right number. Maybe I did 1 to the side, that's for sure. I think 4 or 5 to the front, and then the remaining 5 or 6 with the grinds. But yeah, it's a bit higher than average, but nothing too crazy, we could say. And then his problem was that his cavalry striking first only kills 2 model. Between all his attack, he just barely. I just survived with the guy here in the back, which is obviously huge because it's 3 attack plus 2 grinds on this guy here in the flank, and that's obviously huge. I managed with those grinds and attack only to kill 1 guy. That wasn't that much, but still in the front I managed to do really good, and yeah, I think I did maybe all the attack in the front. I don't know if I put all the right numbers between here. I just have a doubt about this one, because he strikes before me, so it's a bit lower than that, I think so, because I had 2 model left, less than that. So I think I made the max, I think, with the grinds. I could have put, I think I put 2 grinds in the flank, on the 3+, no reroll, all my attack in the front here because reroll to wound, and all the grind in the front because of reroll to wound. Anyway, at the end I rolled a bit higher, he rolled a bit lower, and we ended up making a draw. I made 11 wounds, he did 7 wounds to me. So we stuck here. On average I should have lost by a bit, lost a couple more wounds, but I think it's not that easy for him to go through. We are still far from getting through. He did only 7 wounds. I could have done a bit more, but he did, I think, much more than that, like 10+, and me to fluff a little bit to really pop me and go through. But still a bit too risky to my taste after I discovered that he had 20 attacks instead of 10. Anyway, what happened with the dragon? Sorry. The dragons kill my BSB despite the ward save. He kills the BSB stomp in the unit, but still, due to my static, I win by 1, and he was a bit too far with the BSB. As I remember, I think he was too far with the BSB, just a bit more than 12, I would say, and he had a check on 8, no reroll, which he passed. Which would have been a drama, obviously, to fail, because I could have pursued and charged. The tank would have been free to charge the little cavalry and so on. Anyway, on my turn, I charge with the tank. He has, like you can see, I think 3 wounds left. So I didn't do that much with the blunder, I did 3. Yeah, I think he has like 3 wounds left. I charge with my tank, 3d3 strength 6. It should be dead. Here I charge with the Lamassu to help my incarnate. That should also be fine. I can buff a little bit the combat. You can see no cavalry here, so it should be going fine. On the left, that's going to be unfortunately the final turn, so I just defend on the left flank. Those guys, they reform, they're out of line of sight, they can shoot here. And basically that's going to be the end of the game. We don't have time to play in turn 6. On the magic phase, I got hereditary on the Kestrels to help me in close combat. I failed the +1 to hit and he dispelled the ward save. On the shooting I killed one of the Briar Maiden, and with shooting the tank, shooting I think did nothing because I did only 1 Briar and that's it, the rest is in combat. And close combat, on the right, I'm going to win by a lot, making good numbers here on the flanks, the Lamassu helping. He lost by really heavily, and I just run down this unit, so there are no Kestrel anymore. Those guys, they flee over here, they're going to rally next turn. And then the tank combat, that's the odd of the tank. So again, it's another, you can be death or you can survive 50-50. On average, I should do 2 or 3 wounds. I managed to do only, unfortunately, 1 wound. So it's another, it's another coin flip that I lost this time. Only 1 wound. He lost again by 1, despite he made a good stomp, so he lost only by 1. And he stick another time. I think it's another 8 non-rollable. At least he didn't roll the BSB, so he made it straight, but I think it was a bit too far than BSB, to be honest. But just 1 wound, which is disappointing. He goes on the unit, and he passed the check on -1. So disappointed because, he should be really close to death. At least 2 wounds would give me half point and go in the good direction, but doesn't happen. So 2 times that the tank had a good occasion to shine and take a very good amount of points, which here doesn't happen. So that's annoying. And it's also, remember, it's also my secondary objective in balance, because I catch the Kestrel, I kill the cavalry, so I just miss the dragon. So if I kill the dragon, it's a secondary. So secondary plus 870 points. We are speaking about like 3 points of the total score, which is huge, obviously. Anyway, he's turn 5, is going to move around to shoot me better in magic phase. He gets a reroll. I think he make my tank reroll to wound on his dragon to protect himself. So it's again the same old trick, will and woe for dice, will and woe for dice, which is a mechanic that I found a bit, how should I say, a bit frustrating for the opponent. It's a mechanic that you will see also with other spells in this tournament, but I think the double spell with 4 dice and you just get it, it's a bit annoying. I found, it's not the best mechanic. For the opponent at least, I found it a bit like, okay, I can do nothing, you're going to get this spell through no matter what. If I don't have a binding, basically it's lost. So maybe I should include a binding. Maybe it's a reason enough to include a binding. Maybe if this mechanic doesn't change, I will put a binding. Why not? But yeah, he gets that, so I do nothing on the dragon. He did some wound, and I stick on a 7 with the little guy, and the tank doesn't care because he's super null, so maybe just lose the wound, but that's it. And yeah, that's about it. We finish here. Which ended up only being a 13. We draw, so I take out 1 unit of His Rider, take out a full unit of Kestrel, I take my BSB and half of the warrior, which is enough to be a tie on points. I don't get the secondary, I was missing 1 unit to kill or catch, and it didn't go on the wall, which is enough for me to win it on the center, so 13-7. Post-game analysis, I was in position to cover the flanks, which is not so easy against this list, because as you can see, we played the center, we had to play quite wide. Maybe I occupied one unit too much on the left, but it was not so easy between the scouts, the vanguard, and the 18 march move from the Kestrel. I think 18 or 16, but still not so easy to cover all the potential positions on the flank. So that was not so easy, but still that worked quite well on a macro level, I felt. The left flank remained a standoff. We both had a lot of points blocked on this left flank, which I felt we were both okay with, to be honest. I didn't see really the occasion to push with the left incarnate, but when we saw that on the right incarnate they were able to get charged by Kestrel plus a full unit of distracting cavalry, and they were still able to hold, maybe I could have pushed a bit more my incarnate as soon as he lost the 2 Kestrel and he had the flaming token. Maybe I could have then at this point move a bit forward with my incarnate to tempt him to double charge and just get the anointed as a counter charge. That would have been an option potentially, but that's the kind of play that I don't like that much doing when I'm in front, basically point wise. I didn't felt taking risk was going to be my advantage because I was already winning. So that just giving him options to go back in the game, which I felt was not necessary, to be honest, on a team level, because we felt good about the pairing. Turn 4 Infernal Dwarves, yeah, that was a big phase, a key phase against the dragon. On both turns, the first shooting phase and the second one, I expected slightly more. I think it's really close to him dying after the both shooting phase. Didn't happen this time, was, like I said, a bit flip of coin. Turn 5, SE, yeah, I didn't know the core cavalry was so good. 20 attack, strength 5. On the charge phase with distracting was really impressive. I should have buffed it more or do another move, but I felt the position I wanted to get in with the tank and everything, I needed to chaff the cavalry, and that's why I activated the incarnate. But I think here just a key spell would have been like hereditary or the ward save spell, one of those, to just make sure that I help a little bit the incarnate in the upcoming combat, and I made it even safer for me to stick. So I think that's something I could have improved. Turn 5, yeah, I think the dragon overall is lucky to give no points because I didn't take half points. So he's very lucky to stick to time and be alive at the end of the game. It's also huge for the secondary, obviously. So a lot of points here in the balance. These 2 coin flip on the dragon were basically quite important point-wise and could have helped me get to a 15 plus. Bastion obviously in danger versus range damage. Bolt Thrower did some wounds, magic, not magic, but Bolt Thrower, Sentinel, Pathfinder, obviously all these guys can do some wounds on the Bastion, so I think I expected him to die, but it's not too bad for my list when he dies. I mean, there are 2 units that test on 9, most of the rest of the stuff, I mean, Incarnate, the tank, don't care, so that's still okay to lose him in some games, and that's only 420, so it's not that problematic, to be honest. And the Ruin, yeah, caused me some issues. Yeah, I find the Arcane stuff, I don't like stuff when you don't know at all what's coming at you. It's very random. It's, yeah, you can have just like me here, bad luck, you lose 5 guys, you have to take a panic and stuff. On purpose, I decided not to march to make sure I don't suffer too much casualties, and then I get hit by that. Yeah, not the things that I like, to be honest. The things that are too random like that. Also, I find with the ambush that is potentially coming is also very strange. Just a unit like touching the ruin and then going in ambush. Also something you don't know if it's your main unit with a BSB, for example, and goes out. So it's not that, yeah, I didn't feel that good playing with the Arcane Ruin, to be honest. Result of the round went really good. We won on all tables between 12 and 17. but we got a good cap, so that was a nice result for us. Thanks a lot to Team Belgium for the game. It was enjoyable as always, and talk to you soon for the game number 2 of the French Interregio. Goodbye, take care.